It's obvious that this iteration of the Los Angeles Lakers needs a few more pieces if they're going to make any real noise in the Western Conference. Specifically, LA must be intentional about getting a 3-and-D guy that will be able to effectively replace the void left behind by Dorian Finney-Smith's departure. The veteran forward surprisingly left for Houston in free agency, and it is hard to overstate just how valuable his two-way presence had become for the Lakers. Finney-Smith often guarded the toughest perimeter assignment and hit the corner threes that the Stars created. That kind of player is essential when you are building around a heliocentric offensive force like Luka Doncic, and his absence is already being felt. Of course, when you have number 77 heading up your offensive approach, you're always going to have a high ceiling. But just as we saw with Doncic in Dallas, you need the right kind of connective pieces around him if you're going to maximize his talent. Especially after DFS left town, that kind of skill is particularly lacking at the moment. The Lakers need a Dorian Finney-Smith replacement. It's just painfully obvious at this point that LA is going to require more 3- and D-type players. They need someone who can chase around the West's elite guards and wings, bang in the post when needed, and hit just enough threes to keep defenses honest. The Lakers do not need another scorer. They just need someone who is going to do the dirty work without asking for the spotlight. That was Finney-Smith, and it's not currently anyone on the roster. The best teams in this conference have all made needle-moving decisions so far this offseason. There's still over 2 months of offseason left, with Media Day and training camp not set to begin until late September. However, the Lakers still have some catching up to do, considering what the Denver Nuggets, Houston Rockets, and others have accomplished. So, if LA is serious about hanging another banner during the twilight of LeBron's career, this issue cannot be ignored. The front office has hit home runs in recent months, but there is one more swing they still need to take. Find the right wing defender. Because no matter how good your stars are, you'll not survive 4 rounds in the West without someone who can guard the ball, rotate properly, and knock down threes in rhythm. Well, that was a waste of time. After a rumor-fueled summer thus far, LeBron James is apparently shutting down any trade or buyout talk, at least for the near future. According to The Athletic's Dan Woik and Joe Vardon, sources from both the Los Angeles Lakers and James are expecting him to report to training camp come October. This quiets a long saga that started with a quote given by LeBron's agent Rich Paul to ESPN's Shams Charania last month. LeBron wants to compete for a championship. He knows the Lakers are building for the future. He understands that, but he values a realistic chance of winning it all. We understand the difficulty in winning now while preparing for the future. We do want to evaluate what's best for LeBron at this stage in his life and career. He wants to make every season he has left count, and the Lakers understand that, are supportive, and want what's best for him. With James picking up the over $50 million player option on what is the last year of his current deal, most fans paired his contract year with this quote to link James to multiple teams that they saw as more ready to win now. A second homecoming to the Cavaliers was a distinct possibility, as was a team-up with Steph Curry. Maybe Knicks fans would get him like they always dreamed, or he'd pull off the ironic move of the century by going to Dallas and reunite with both AD and Kyrie Irving. But no, at least for now, LeBron is in the purple and gold to stay. And why can't the Lakers build around Luka and still be championship contenders? Many called the LeBron exodus based on Rich Paul's quote, particularly regarding where the Lakers were as an organization. LeBron is ready to win now, whereas LA was clearly and rightly ready to move on to building around Luka. LeBron's expensive, and if Luka was to get a marquee star in their prime next to him next season like most think he wants, the Lakers simply can't afford to keep number 23 on for another $50 million. But for this season, the point is absolutely moot. Even without AD, the LeBron/Luka Lakers of late last year were still considered contenders, at least in part. NBA.com Power ranked them at 4 as of late February. And while power rankings don't mean much in the grand scheme of things, nothing has changed in recent memory to really stain their reputation. The clarion call was simple for this coming season: shore up your bigs. And for all the talk of LA's big hole in the middle of both their defense and offense, DeAndre Ayton is a very underrated pickup. No, he hasn't lived to his number 1 pick status and likely never will, but Aiden remains a nightly double-double threat that can only really improve on the Lakers. Luka will undoubtedly make him look incredible, and LeBron is as good a molder of young minds as anyone in the NBA. And that's without getting into another year of development from Jackson Hayes and the return of Rui Hachimura and Jared Vanderbilt in full force. As for LeBron and Luka's relationship, the only element scaring pundits is that if the Lakers are to reach their full potential this year, LeBron is likely going to have to take a back seat for the first time in his career. And as far as we know, there have been no indications as to any friction between him and Luka. Last season, James was all about Doncic not worrying about fitting in, and he and his agent are clearly more than aware that the Lakers are to be Luka's team, especially with Luka getting into super soldier shape for the upcoming season. Yes, the Lakers are building around Luka Doncic. LeBron finally has a primary ball handler he can trust. Their bigs are squared away. Quote or not, to think that LeBron was going anywhere was absolutely stupid. Because no team with the GOAT and the NBA's best point guard will ever be going for anything other than the top of the mountain. Back in the 2019 NBA draft, the OKC Thunder opted to take a swing on the upside of prep-to-pro prospect Darius Bazley with the 23 overall selection. Throughout his tenure with the organization, he certainly showed flashes of potential as a rotation player in the association. His length proved to be a problem for opposing players when on the defensive end, while his athleticism made him a fun fast-break option as a streaker and lob threat. Unfortunately, said potential was never able to be displayed on a consistent enough basis, and as a result, midway through the 2022-23 campaign, the Thunder traded Bazley to the Phoenix Suns, where he would ride out the remainder of the season before spending the next 2 years bouncing in and out of the league. Following an overseas stint with the Guangdong Southern Tigers of the Chinese Basketball Association during the 2024-25 season, the former first-round pick now finds himself attempting to make an NBA comeback, as he's currently suiting up for the Los Angeles Lakers Summer League team. Though he may have fizzled out of the league once, based on the way he's been performing during the annual off-season exhibitions, it seems rather likely that he'll be earning his right to return to the league in some capacity for the upcoming season, and, from the look of it, how LA is using him seems to be a major reason why. Lakers have found a way to use Darius Bazley, Thunder never did. For the vast majority of his time spent with the Thunder, Bazley was utilized as a long and lanky tweener forward, often shoved out to the mid to long range on offense and found squaring off against 3s and 4s when on defense. With the Lakers, however, coach Lindsey Harding has decided to utilize the 25-year-old primarily as a center and, to the delight of the organization, the experiment has been a major success thus far. Between both the California Classic and Las Vegas-based games, Bazley is posting impressive all-around averages of 12.3 points, 8.5 rebounds, and 2.2 blocks per game, while shooting 56.7% from the floor. His overall energy and hustle on the hardwood have truly been mesmerizing, especially when seen going up against some of this year's top-billed youngsters. Bazley even managed to hold number 1 overall pick Cooper Flagg to a pedestrian 10 points on 5 of 21 shooting during their July 10th matchup. With the Summer League close to winding down, Los Angeles will soon have to make a decision on whether they wish to hold on to Bazley's services for 2025-26. Even without his emergence this offseason, the cash-strapped Lakers may have realistically opted to extend a standard deal in his direction for depth purposes alone. However, considering how well he's played following Harding's decision to move him primarily to the pivot, it appears that, be it in LA or elsewhere, the former Thunder forward is destined to return to the States as a highly athletic and energetic center.